What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Phantom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I'm here with Anthony and Mike, and we are discussing episode 2 of season 2 of Shadow and Bone. Ah, I'm gonna keep saying it. I'm so glad this show is back.
I know. Jesper showed out this episode. Like, holy shit. Like see, it's like, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's like now that we know that he's a Durast, it's like every time we see him shoot, we're like, oh yeah, okay. Of course he is. I mean, of
But
course
they're
that shot
also
hit.
focusing on it a lot more than they
Yeah.
like before. They would focus on it. We could see just how skilled he was. But now that it's out in the open that this is what I can do, it's almost like the flourish is there.
The
And like
the
Jesper
slow
is,
mos,
huh?
the slow mos,
The slow
and
mos in
like
this
the and
episode.
like the gun
Yes.
twirls that he does. I'm like, oh dude, he's a beast. Like,
Yeah, twirling the coat and the flips. And Jesper, like in this episode, just yes. And Anthony, I know you still are not on the Jesper train completely, but you gotta admit he was badass in this episode.
He was all right.
Oh, you know what?
Okay, I'm cutting him off. Hold on, wait. Give me controls. I'm turning this camera off. I'm turning it off right
Look, I'm
the
about
fuck
to
now.
mute. Look, I'm muting him.
No, bro. I can't even see. I can't even justify that.
I said he was all right. I said he was all right.
He was more than all right in this episode.
Okay, I said he was getting better. I'm almost on his ship. Y'all not making it easy for me.
We ain't even talking about the snark. We're talking about just the skill and the badassery.
I never had an issue with the skill or the badassery. That's fine. I'm cool with him. He's good.
This dude. Oh my god.
I'm telling you, it's good.
Bruh.
I'm great. I'm straight. Jesper has grown on me. He's all right.
Okay. I guess we'll have to take the all right.
Whatever, dude. Fine. But he was a badass in this episode. Like he showed his ass in this episode, and it's like I was so for it. And it's like this whole episode is like the setup and like everything, and like the middle, like getting to the end where Pekka Rollins thought he had everybody, and like, oh my god, that whole sequence was just incredible. But yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it. So
yeah, but let me tell you, Jesper, his gun skills at this point, at that part of the episode, that was one of the best moments. But also just the scenes with him and Wylan, like when he pulled Wylan up under the wagon and was on top of him, and he was like, "Wait,
oh yeah,
oh you." And Wylan's like, he was like, "You brought me screw waffles. You want to remember now?" Like, this is the absolute wrong time for you to be remembering that we actually like have been innocent.
Oh my god. Like now, dog, really? Now? Can you save us before you like start remembering shit? Like for real.
Right. Before you start fawning over me or whatever the case may be.
Whatever that was. Right.
It was funny though.
Stop,
it was
dude.
Funny. Because I mean, I love Jesper, but sometimes he can be so clueless, and it's funny when he does start when he starts paying attention, because Jesper is very much one of those just kind of like carefree, happy-go-lucky type people. Not to say that he's not smart, but it's like a lot of times he's just not paying attention. But when he does pay attention and it's like that light bulb goes off, he was like, wait, hold up. It's the funniest thing, because the expressions on his face and just the way he responds to things, you can't help but laugh at him. Like, Jesper, you couldn't tell that something was off with this dude when you walked into his workshop, and he was like, yeah, like a natural person would have looked at his expression, looked at the way he was acting, and been like, wait, we have we
met? Right.
That sort of
thing. I guess and plus we have to keep remembering that they're in their early 20s, if not late teens. I mean, like they're young, like young people.
Yeah.
So it's like they're not like in their 30s or something where it's like, oh, hey, I remember you. But it's like they're young, so they're like, they basically you have to remember that. I mean, I don't remember this because I'm in my early 50s, but it's like I have to remember that young people feel like they're invincible sometimes. So they're like, I can handle this right now, and where bullets are flying past me, be like, oh shit, I remember this. And they're like, can you handle this later? Like, oh, okay, let me handle this real quick. Hold on. But
Right.
it's like, but yeah, it's like that day, yeah, that whole sequence was hilarious and just badass the way that Jesper took care of it. But yeah, it's like that whole with Inez and all that, like the whole thing was just like really cool.
Yeah. I think I remember Anthony saying that he likes heists and he likes, the Crow's storyline specifically because it's kind of heist like.
It's always a heist, and
Hmm.
that's
Heisty.
the appeal. Yeah, that's the appeal of them.
Yeah.
That whole leverage feel. You
Yeah,
know, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then this was like a little minor heist, and it's like my girl showed up and showed out in this episode. Yeah.
Yes, she did. Yep.
And
And
she got
because
shot.
Pekka, and just the whole way that Cass planned that, like he really did plan it well, but you can see that Pekka is starting to get maybe a few steps ahead of him.
Right.
He's more than a few steps.
Well,
He's basically predicted every one of Kaz's moves. Yeah,
except for Nina.
Yeah.
except for Nina.
Except for Nina.
Nina,
But
Right.
yeah.
you know, we talked about this in the last episode where, first season, Cass was so well put together. He was so observant. And I think he still is in that way. You can tell just by how meticulously he plans things. But I
Yeah.
think the problem is this is personal for him. So it's starting to affect, I think, some of the ways that he thinks about certain things. And if he doesn't get it together soon, because again, we see him kind of going into this slow downward spiral, and we get to see more and more of the flashbacks and what happened, with his brother and with Pekka Rollins. So, going to the flashbacks, um, Pekka Rollins was, uh, he had taken on the persona of a man named Jacob Hertzog, I think was the name,
Mm-hmm.
and Cass's brother um had come upon him. uh, Pekka Rollins basically told him, yes, I do some investments for people, help them get rich quick. And Cass's brother bought into this and had a little bit of money from his father's farm. He goes to Pekka Rollins' house, and of course Pekka Rollins is in this big house, and he took advantage of them. But we're still only seeing bits and pieces of Kaz's past. But the thing that caught me, and I know this is probably it could be that it's a common name, but when Kaz's brother introduced him to Mr. Hertzog, he said, "And this is my younger brother Kaz." And of course, they went by a different last name than Rightville. And I believe that is Kaz's original last name. But still, the fact that Kaz, I don't think that can't be a common name. You know, it's just one of those things
Yeah.
where I'm like, okay, Peck, I need you to remember back. Like, but I guess too, that just means that he probably has swindled a lot of people out of whatever it was, or he probably, whatever it was that he did with them. He's done it a lot.
Yeah. He's probably like a more advanced version of what's the guy in Oliver Twist, the main villain, the big guy in Oliver Twist. I can't remember his name,
I
but
cannot remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
he's kind of like him. It's like he'll use like whoever he can. It's like the younger the better because they're more innocent and they won't catch on as quickly as someone older or more experienced. And he'll
Mm-hmm.
use them to his advantage and then toss them out like tissue, like
Right,
like dirty laundry. Just be like, I don't need you anymore. So,
right.
but yeah, that's kind of like not Faustus. I can't remember. I'll remember later. but yeah, that's kind of the feel that I got from him when they went up to his house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we'll come back to Kaz and the Crows in a little bit because that's a lot going on with them in this episode. And I
Yeah.
want to go back to Alina's part of the story for a moment because as we remember from the last episode, she and Mal, they find themselves aboard a pirate ship that, well, excuse me,
Privateer
a
ship.
privateer ship. I'm
Privateer.
sorry, privateer ship captained by a man named Stormhond. And again, this is the same person who financed their the Crow's trip to to try to capture Alina. Of course, Alina and Mal don't know this. This is, we met him in the last episode when Kaz and Jesper had been taken, had been arrested. But he basically tells Alina that there is a bounty on her. The Fierdas want 20 million Kruger for, they want to pay 20 million Kruger for her. And he's not planning to turn her in. And they kind of have a discussion about how they can help each other, because she was like, hey, you can turn me into the Rafkin King for double that. This is what I need to do, though. I want to tear down the foe because, of course, he thinks that she and Kirigan were in league. And she makes it very clear, I was not his ally. I want to tear down the foe. I'm going to help reunite Ravka, and that appeals to him. So she tells him about the plan to find the Sea Whip so that she can, amplify her power, and he agrees to take her to do this. Now, I will say, the level of disrespect he was giving Mal at the beginning, I was not here for it. He was
the intense disrespect that he was like, "Who are you again?" It doesn't matter.
Nobody respects Mal.
You know what? And I, you know what?
Does.
And I can't stand that folks just dismiss him
since day one. I think that's almost intentional by the writers because I think he has a really important part to play. And he's easy to dismiss. Like, he's easy to not pay attention to.
Yeah.
He's just a lowly soldier who's really good at tracking.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of see him as a hanger on to the Sun Summoner. It's like he's just like there. He's like, almost her valet. It's like he's just like, just hanging around because he's her friend and she's just bringing him along. It's like, okay, whatever, just bring him. Because you're more important. So whoever you want to bring along is fine. You can, it's fine.
Yeah.
And they overlook him, but he's skilled. It's like he actually has skills.
Mm-hmm.
He can actually help you get to what you need, especially when you're trying to find the Sea Whip. It's like he can track things.
He's a tracker. He's a skilled tracker.
Yes, he's very good at what he does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I mean, I love Sturmon, but it's like the way that he was like, we have the Sun Summoner, and what's your name? It doesn't matter what your he was almost like The Rock, where he was like, what's your name? It doesn't matter what your name is. I was like, come on, man, give my man some props. Like, give him respect, put some respect on his name.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the dude is like, I mean, he found the stag and he knows what he's doing. Give the man some props.
Yeah, but I think for someone like Starmon, I think someone like Mal, yes, I would say he's probably disposable because he doesn't realize that about Mal. Like, you can say one thing about a person, be like, oh yeah, he's a skilled tracker, but until you actually start seeing what he can do, because I mean, think about it. In Sturmhond's position, he is a privateer. He's probably come across other trackers, other people who can find things, maybe not to the extent of Mal, but other people who can track things down. You would assume, being in the business that he's in, he probably has experience looking for things that people don't want found. But I think, when they actually get on the boat and they start going towards where the Sea Whip is, and like a lot of Mal's, the things that he says make sense. And I think Sturmhond really starts paying attention to that. Mal has a natural feel for these types of things, and Starmon is paying attention.
Well, he seems to collect people who have unusual talents.
Yeah.
That's the twins. Yeah.
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 He seems to see, and then it's cool to have a character who actually sees value in people for what they can do and not necessarily who they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's also, it appears that he, like you said, he does collect people, but it's not necessarily for what they can give him. You know,
No, just
I feel like
what they can do. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like he's the type of person
Yeah.
that gives a chance to people who others might overlook or might throw away or say, oh, I don't need anybody like, you know, with your skills, or I don't need Grisha
Well,
because
it's one of those things like Mal is just a soldier. Like he can get soldiers come a dime a dozen,
mm-hmm,
but then Mal knows which way is north without a compass.
mm-hmm.
Okay,
Right.
you might have some value.
Yeah, like, maybe I underestimated you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's like you're gonna be you will literally be lost without him. Like literally, you have no idea where the hell you are.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Lucky compass or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. But so you do learn a little bit more about the twins on this, on this little, I don't want to say cruise, but on this, voyage. On this voyage,
I was gonna start singing the Gilligan's Island theme, but I decided
The love boat soon will be making another run.
I wasn't gonna go that route.
no.
But,
But so the
God.
twins are Grisha.
Tristan Howell the third.
Oh my God, here y'all go.
Sturmond is kind of Thurston Howell-ish.
Tristan Howell, yes he is.
Yeah, he does have that vibe. He does. But you see the twins are also Grisha. They are heart renders. And Tamar actually has she has an amplifier. So, that I think is a shark's tooth behind her ear.
Mm-hmm.
And you see them bonding with Alina on this voyage. And again, you see the different people that Sturmond has around him. They all seem like a bunch of good people. They all seem to be loyal to him, which is good. And I think
I have a question.
a lot of that may put Alina and Mal at ease, because it's not like he's the captain and you see people who are not satisfied with him. Like, everybody is jovial, everyone is in good spirits. So it's kind of like, okay, we might have found a good place to kind of I guess in a way you can say that they're laying low, because nobody else knows that they're going after the sea whip. And again, with Alina having these visions of the Darkling and her not knowing that he is actually alive, I think it kind of takes their mind off of things a little bit, to
Yeah. So when they're up there playing like their game of chance, they're playing cards and stuff. It's like I wouldn't play with either one of the twins because they're heart renders. It's like, why would you play with somebody who knows when you're bluffing? It's like they can like actually hear your heart when it starts beating fast when you're bluffing. It's like, I'm not playing with you. No, I like keeping my money.
What
It's
else
like,
are you gonna do?
That's cheating.
What else?
I mean, I'll figure something else out instead of just like playing cards with them, and they're like, "Oh, you're bluffing." Like, fuck. It's like that's all the money I had. And it's like, and then I'm mad. And I'm like, gotta go over there, swab the deck, and get some more money and shit. It's like, no. It's like, because heart renders, it's like, for real. It's like you just can't do things like that with heart renders, because they know things. And it's evident when we get to the part with the crows where Nina figures out where Pekka's books are. It's like, it's like they know things. They're really intuitive as to people's to how to get to people and get them to give them what they want.
That's not like intuitive. That's that's not intuitive.
Okay, it's cheating. Yes, it's cheating. Okay, exactly. It's cheating.
Well, Nina is a spy, and you give a spy heart render type powers. That's an issue.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And the same thing like with the twins. The twins are,
it's like a cheat code.
They seem to already be pretty good at sussing crap out. Mm-hmm. And then you throw that, oh, you're also heart renders. Oh yeah, good good luck against them. You know.
Yeah.
It kind of puts a different spin when people were running past when people were running after Mal in the first episode, where they're like, okay, well, this is either exciting or dangerous. Like, because they sense the heart rate of people running past them, and like, oh, that's different. That's just not people
No,
running. That's
Mal
like,
wasn't running past them when they were walking past when the commander was giving the speech to all the other people that
oh, okay,
Aretsev is a deserter and he's with the Sun Summoner who is wanted for, because remember they still think that Alina was in cahoots
right,
with
okay,
Kirigan, so they blame her partly for what happened in Novosibirsk and for the fold
yeah.
continuing to expand. So that's what they were looking at. They were like, oh, so there's some people who are wanted. This could either be dangerous or this could be fun. And then
Okay,
I
yeah.
guess at that point, they probably went back and told Sturmon, well, this is what we heard, or Sturmon probably said, okay, look, this is who we're looking for. We're looking for the Sun Summoner. And they're like, hey, we overheard this. So that's probably how they ended up.
And then he said, and then Sturmon said that he bought out the docks so that he was their only choice to get on the ship. So
So he
yeah,
knows how to
this
plan
got
some things
Sturmon.
too.
Yeah, yeah. I told you this is like I said last time. I love it. I'm like really starting to like this guy.
I
Like
like it.
because he's smart as fuck, and and he's sarcastic as shit. It's just like, he has that little edge about him. Like, okay, I like this dude.
He hasn't told any bad jokes yet, so that's good.
I mean, that's the only thing that's keeping me from making him my favorite character. But
I
it's like
know.
I'm sure it's coming. But we'll
I
figure
know.
it out.
But anyway, so like we said, he takes Alina and Mal. They go in search of the sea whip, and they actually do find it. Now I will say this, from reading the books to what I saw on the screen, I was really expecting it to be maybe a little bit bigger. But I also
It
was
kind of
not expecting them to find it this quickly in the season, because I was like,
it
oh,
kind of
they're doing
yeah.
this now. That
It
means
kind of looked like
condensing some
it
stuff.
looked like a smaller version of the dragon that Shang-Chi was riding in Shang-Chi.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think I mentioned that when we were off camera
Right.
talking about the last episode. But yeah, that's what it looks like. But they are able to find it. And apparently that thing is not pleased about having been found.
At
Because
all.
it does take out quite a few of Sturmon's crew and is ready to take out Mal before Alina attacks it and she ends up killing it, which I think disappointed her, because I don't think her plan was to kill it. Just like with the stag, she wanted it to choose her. But
Yeah, she
unfortunately,
actually said that she didn't want them to kill it. She was
mm-hmm,
like, "No, we're going to take it alive. We're going to take it and not kill it." And she ended
mm-hmm.
up killing it. It's like, yeah, I
And
know.
she kind of had to. I mean, not just because of the fact that it was going after Mal, but I mean, it was killing a few other folks too. It had
Right.
already killed like 2 or 3 people, and then it was going after Mal. And the crazy thing was, Mal could actually, again, he could feel it, he could see it,
He
and
said
it.
he could feel its frequency,
Mm-hmm.
which I don't have theories anymore.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you
I
do.
don't.
Give it to us. Come on, man. Give it to us. Come on.
I think Mal might be a what do they call it? Amplifier?
The human amplifier, like
Yeah, because
Bagra and
A human one?
Kirigan. Yeah,
yeah. Alina talked about it with Bagra. Bagra talked about it with Alina when she told her that that was the reason why her power worked so well in Kirigan, because she was like, he's a human amplifier. And Alina was like, human amplifiers don't exist. She was like, you've been a Grisha for 2 whole days and you know this already? So yeah,
right.
human amplifiers do exist.
So I think Mal, no, because Mal could feel it, and he felt the stag too. That's how he was
Yeah, he
able to
said
track
he
the
heard the
stag.
frequency.
So
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
think
he heard the frequency.
Mm-hmm.
so you
Okay.
think that his abilities as a tracker is basically him being an amplifier? Kind of is almost it's a property of him being an amplifier.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. It's just like how Nina has these natural gifts that are just
Right.
modified by her being a heartbender. Imagine if Inez was a heartbender. Like,
Oh shit. Ooh.
I mean, I'm not saying she could be
Nobody's
one.
safe.
I mean, Jesper is one. She could be one. That's
Mm-hmm.
why she throws those knives so well. I
Yeah.
don't know, but I'm just saying, like with him, maybe his natural ability as a tracker is just amplified by him being amplified,
Mm.
and that would also explain why his relationship to her is so close. Like why they're so in tune with each other.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not your theory.
It's not a theory.
Okay.
I'm
It sure
I'm
sounds like one.
I'm
It's
supposing
really
it's
close to a
based
theory,
on
though.
evidence.
But okay, so if we're gonna go that route and that's not a theory for you, you could say the rest of the episode that deals with them actually kind of supports that, because after she does kill the sea whip, of course they're back on the ship, they're having like a little ceremony for their lost peers, and then it looks like what they've done is they've taken some of the scales from the sea whip, and Tamara is fusing them into her wrist. And when she goes to use her power, we see that it does amplify her power, but it's also to the point where she is, I'm trying to think of the right word. It's
Well,
almost
it's
like,
she's drunk with power. Like
yes,
there's more and
yes,
more power. Yeah.
that's what I was going to say. She's almost in like this bliss, this ecstasy, and she can't control it. And Mal has to come over and kind of like hug her. And that's the
Right.
only thing that really gets to that really gets to her and gets her to stop. And so that
Supposition
your
based on
supposition,
theory.
mhm,
No, sorry,
Your
based on
theory.
that
evidence.
that
Just
does
say it,
seem
dog.
to be
It seems sound.
yeah, it seems sound. And of course, that there's again, people with power, when they have that power, it also makes them very aroused. And that kiss at the end of it, I was like, yeah, she was feeling that whole power trip thing. But that thing kind of in a sense it worries me, because one of the things that Kirigan in his visions with her keeps talking about is how she's going to be alone, how he's talked to her even before about power and how it will not necessarily corrupt you or corrupt her, because he doesn't think he's corrupted, but how it will basically put her on a level that nobody else can be on except for her and him. But
But yeah, it's like, but that makes sense because it's like the way that he used Elena and put the stag horns in her. It's
mhm,
like he was actually using it to amplify his power as opposed to amplifying her power. So
mhm,
it's like, human amplifiers are definitely a thing. It's just, I mean, that's actually that not that bad of a
mhm.
theory.
Yeah.
Just thinking of like where. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, going back to what you were saying about what you said about Kirigan, you know, taking Alina's power to boost his own, like that was his whole goal all along. He wanted more power. He wanted, I mean, even as powerful as he is, he still wanted more. So them showing us Alina's reaction to being amplified by the sea whip and, of course, the stag, and just the way that she can't really control it, that just kind of, it makes me a little worried, because if I know that she's been telling him and she's been telling other people, like, I'm not like him, I don't want to be like him, I'm going to do what he couldn't do or what he wouldn't do as far as the fold, and she keeps protesting about how she's not like him, and all I can think about is Daenerys Targaryen, and how she kept saying that she was going to be the one to fix things, and she was not going to repeat the mistakes of her father. And then they wrote her to do exactly that, or exactly the opposite. Like she became the Mad King on drugs in the final
Right.
season. And I'm just worried that they're going to go that route with Alina as well, even though her intentions are pure. I fear that if she gets more power, if she finds this Firebird, if she's going to look for the Firebird, because right now, I don't think her goal is to find the Firebird. She was looking for the Sea Whip because what she wants to do is bring down the fold, and she thinks she can do that with just 2 amplifiers.
Right.
But if it comes to a point where she can't do it with the 2 and she has to go find the third, if she gets the third and she gets that power, is it going to corrupt her? Because again, this has never been attempted by any Grisha, having more than one amplifier. And even though she's not using Merzost like Kirigan did, what happens if she gets the third amplifier and it's not enough? Not enough to take down the fold, not enough to do what she needs to do, especially once she finds out that Kirigan is alive and he has these fucking shadow monsters. What is she gonna say? Oh, well, I have to match him in power so I can defeat him. I don't know. I really don't want them to write this as her being pure at first and then she gets corrupted by power, because it's like that has been done time and time and time again. Can we
Right.
do something a little bit different? But
Or it's like I really don't even want her to just get. I know because she wants this so bad. I don't want her to actually go at it early, like too soon, and then fail. Because I mean, like, what will that do to her psyche? It's like, it's like you think you have it. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go do it, and you don't do it. It's like, oh my God, like, what do I have to do?
mm-hmm.
It's like it's like, I mean, I want her to be. I mean, but it's it's the thing about writing where people are probably like, where the writer's probably like, well, okay, we'll put her in the situation where she thinks she's ready, then she's not ready, then she doubts, then she gets more, then she thinks she's ready again, then she's not ready, then she has to make a sacrifice, then she's ready. It's just like crazy.
Anyway, but she has a second amplifier now. She is more powerful, so we'll see where that's gonna take her. Let's see. Where do I want to go next? I do want to go back to the crows. Okay. Um, because at this point, Nina is still wanting to find a way to get to Matthias. And that is like her whole goal with working with the crows. She's just trying to find a way to get to Matthias. And so they have this meeting. And Kaz is like, okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to hit Pekka Rollins where it hurts. No, we're not going to blow up any more of his buildings. I'm not going to do that. But what we need to do is we need to get access to his finances. We need to find out everything that he has every pocket he has his hands in. So the plan is to break into the office of Pekka's financial manager and steal his books. And they're trying to figure this out because the building that the financial manager is in, it's one of those buildings where, as they say, there are no names on the doors. It's seeped in anonymity. So you don't know which office belongs to which person, and it's heavily guarded and all of this other stuff. And it's so funny because Kaz is being serious and he's talking about this stuff, and Nina is talking about food. She's like, oh, do they serve this here and do they serve this here? And she gets up and she walks away from the table, and Kaz is just looking at her like, did this bitch just really get up while I was
like I'm trying to be serious here. Can we focus, please?
But it's so funny because when she comes back, she's drinking some tea and everybody's just kind of looking at her like, and so he was like, so we just need to find out, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, it's here. It's on this floor. It's Blair. And then she was like, the waitress told me. I was like, this is why Nina is great. Cause she was like, oh, okay. They were like, we're not going to get this information. She was like, yeah, such and such person comes in for breakfast every morning and blah, blah, blah. I was like, this is why we need Nina. Cause like you were saying, Anthony, her heart rending just, it just adds to the skills she already has. She's a spy. She knows how to get information out of people. And yes, she may sit there and touch her wrist, kind of like she did with the desk clerk at the hotel when he was like, you owe me money. And she was like, she just touched his hand and she was like, don't you want to give me an extension?
This is the thing though. The thing is, like, she's really good at this. If you're a heart renderer, people can kind of suss it out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so she has had to develop skills to do these things without doing heart render stuff,
Mm-hmm.
which is what makes her the most effective spy.
Yes,
Like,
because she's very charming and she's very flirty.
right. And you
And
can't
she's
go
very
around heart
pretty, so people
rendering.
respond to the flirtiness.
Everybody loves redheads, you know, but you
Yeah.
can't go around
They're the devil, but yeah.
heart rendering people because people will figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's probably really why she's really good at this. Is she's probably had to hide being a heart renderer, so she's got to do things differently.
Well, I mean,
Right.
think about it. She worked for Kirigan. So I'm sure she knows how to do what she does without it being obvious. You know, some people, especially when you're a Grisha, because they talk about you have to use your hands in order to use your powers. So with a lot of Grisha, especially like not necessarily the Duras, because of course we see with Jesper that's not the case. Like he doesn't have to do this the hand gestures, but he does stuff with his gun. So I'm assuming that kind of is the way he communicates power. Yeah. But with the other ones, you see them, especially like the Inferni, and you know, they have to make these big hand gestures in order to do the big stuff. But if Nina is just going to go talk to somebody, all she has to do is literally sit there and just touch a person very lightly and it works. So it's subtle, but it still gets the job done.
And there's a reason why Kirigan basically released her into the world and let her do her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just got to tell, he just had, all he had to do was tell her, this is what I need. Mm-hmm. He didn't have to tell her how to do it, where to go to get it. She's independent enough, smart enough, and cunning enough to be able to just go do those things.
Right.
And he knew that. And that's why she basically has been roaming around on her own, it seems like, for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he just knows that she's out there. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And all he has to do is get the word to her, and she's wherever he needs her to be.
Right.
I love this scene because it's like when she comes back with her waffle, it's like Kaz looks at her, is like, really, ho? Really? ma'am, I'm trying to formulate a plan here. And she's just like, yeah, whatever. No. Okay,
like, okay, so here's the information you were looking for.
Exactly. And she's still eating that. Can I get some water? And they're like,
At this point,
I was like, this is the best.
Kaz is probably looking like, okay, just give her whatever she wants. Like, because she just effortlessly went and did the thing that needed doing. She got the information, you know? But anyway, so they put their plan together.
She literally did it. She did it in like 15 seconds. It's like they're like, okay, we it's gonna probably take us a day and a night to figure out where we go and go up there and follow them and find them. And she's like, yeah, give me like 15 seconds. I'll go talk to the waitress and come back with a waffle. And be like, okay, second floor, second door to the left, and da da da.
She probably got the waffle for free too.
Probably, I wouldn't doubt it because she's like that. It's like, this is why I love this girl. Like yeah, she's got all that. It's like she and you could tell at that moment she instantly gained the respect of everyone else in the crew, where they were like, okay, she's a heartrender, whatever. But then they were like, oh, okay. Especially Jesper. Jesper was like, I like her being here. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Because I mean, she really does enhance the crew. So apparently they come up with their plan, and that night they enacted. Nina is outside and she is the lookout, Pekka Rollins has apparently, he's not there. He's gone, and the financial manager is gone or whatever. She goes and she's able to get into the building by, again, flirting with the doorman. And then she kind of heart renders him a little bit, which I was like, Nina, you're not subtle enough, because I understand you looked around before you did this, but still, a grown ass man just fainted in your arms and now you're dragging him in the building. That's not subtle at all. But I guess there's not
She's Nina.
much else she could do. So she does that.
She knows the extent to where she can do it. Like she knows to where she knows where she can like get away with it and where she can't get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like she's like, okay, that's why she was like, okay, I could probably get away with like getting him and put him aside, but it's like she just didn't realize. Well, no, never mind. But yeah, it's like she's really good at that, like at knowing where she is and what to do.
So she's doing that. Kaz and Inej are on the roof because Kaz is going to get into the office through the window, which means he has to be lowered down by Inej. Now, I was looking at this and I was like, Inej has to be strong as fuck, because Kaz is not a big dude, but he's bigger than she is. Inej is like this little wisp of a person, and she is holding him so that he can get into this window. Like, she lowers him down and he goes into the window. I was like, that Inej, just, yeah. Jesper and Wylan are in a horse-drawn cart following Pekka's, the financial manager, trying to make sure that, he's not going back to the office or whatever. They're basically trying to make sure that there's not going to be an issue with the plan. And all of that planning, it just didn't work out, because when Kaz gets into the office and starts rifling through stuff, Pekka Rollins is there. And when you listen to Pekka's his reasoning, it is sound. He was like, okay, you've already blown up one of my places. I've got lookouts everywhere else. Where's the one place that you're probably going to try to go? Here. It's smart. It makes sense. And then he starts basically telling Kaz, yeah, so I planted traps for all of your people. And like I said, you see that with Jesper and Wylan, the cart in front of them disappears, and then they're attacked. And this is where we get to see Jesper being a complete badass, because they're being shot at. He pulls Wylan into the carriage. They get on the ground and he starts shooting. And I mean, between the slow motion and I was just watching this scene again in the background, what it reminded me of? Did you guys watch the movie Wanted with Angelina Jolie and James McAvoy?
Yes.
It reminded me
exactly
of them. Like when she tells him to curve the bullet, that's what Jesper was doing. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. But
yeah,
he shined in this scene.
Not only did he curve the bullet, he curved the bullet to the
Shut
extent
up, Anthony.
where he shot
you
him.
can, hold up, Mike. Hold up. I'm gonna interrupt you. I'm gonna need you to fix your face, sir. I'm gonna need you to not be rolling your eyes. Just go ahead and accept the fact that Jesper was a badass and he shined in this episode and in this scene particularly. Just go ahead and accept it and stop the haterade. Just stop.
Exactly.
It. Just stop it.
Yes. Stop drinking that shit.
Whatever.
Stop drinking that haterade.
Whatever. I'm gonna turn your camera off
because he shot him in the
disrespectful
he shot him in the shoulder. He shot him in the shoulder and got him to shoot the other guy that was on the Gatling gun. You just need to accept the fact that he's like that. Just accept it and move on. Don't try to think too much in it. Don't try to think too much about it. Just accept it that Jesper's a badass and let's move on. That's all you got to do.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And Jesper was the one who was like, hold up, something's not right. He was, like we said, Jesper, sometimes he can be, he can be flighty. He cannot be paying attention. I mean, he was sitting there kind of sort of flirting with Wylan, and not really paying attention. But once Wyland was like, the driver's gone, he's gone. Jesper starts looking around. He was like, hold up, something's not right. Something's going on. And he goes into action. He actually does keep Wyland from getting killed because one of Pekka's guys grabs Wyland and is about to kill him. Jesper shoots him. And then I think Wyland stops someone from hurting Jesper too, right? Didn't he get on somebody's back and was like doing something? I think.
Yeah.
So, you had those, and then Inej is dealing with something on the roof. This guy in the creepy mask, I was like, something is wrong with this dude. He is not right.
He is not right in the head.
He is not right.
She threw a knife at him and it bounced off of him. It's like,
have you ever known anyone who was normal who was into taxidermy? Like,
no,
no,
that's not normal.
I'm gonna be like Michelle. We apologize to any taxidermists out there. We're not saying that you all are crazy, but in this particular show,
I never used the word crazy.
This dude was crazy.
Don't look us up. Do not look us up and try to find us for this. But it's like, yeah,
this dude.
I mean, he made a mask.
This dude was weird. He was weird. And of course, he's working for Pekka Rollins. And Pekka's whole thing, what he was telling the cast was that basically Inej belongs to me. And I'm going to send her back to the menagerie where she belongs. And what did he say? I'm going to put her in a cellar by herself. And I was like, oh, bro, you telling the wrong person the wrong shit. Because if one thing Kaz ain't about to do, he is not about to let Inej go back to the menagerie. And of course, the dude on the roof is telling Inej all of this too while he's, looking for her, because she does manage to hide from him, but not for long. And they get into this really powerful fight. Now I was like, okay, so they have upped Inej's fighting from last season, because this season, she was doing some moves, but at the same time, she was getting her ass whooped. And I was just like, no, nothing can happen to her. Nothing can happen to her. And she is actually able to get away from this dude, but he roughed her up pretty good. I mean, he had her on her belly, he had her on the ground. He cut the backs of her arms. And I was just like, oh, he's going to render her useless. Like,
I think he did that because she was gonna bleed out. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna get weaker and weaker." So I think he was waiting for her to bleed out, like
so he could take her with and take her back to the menagerie. But he was just that dude.
She was not ready for that fight.
No, because I mean, if she's dealing with a regular person, maybe. But this dude is sadistic. He is. And yeah, he was saying basically, you lose enough blood, you'll give up the fight. And then he'll be able to take her back to the menagerie. She's going to be too weak to do anything. And she'll end up back where Pekka wants her. And I was just like, no, this can't happen. This can't happen. And then, of course, Kaz gets into it with Pekka. And here comes Pekka's guys, and they're shooting, and Kaz looks like he's about to, doesn't look good for him. And then here comes Nina. Nina finally figures out what's going on. She comes up and she does her thing on the guards, and she does it on Pekka, and she, they're able to get out. But I was like, this was too much of a close call for my crows. No, nobody should be. I know that this thinking is not realistic, but I feel like nobody should be able to get the drop on the crows. That's just how I feel, because Kaz is usually so on top of it. Like, he has things planned out so well. And again, like I said, I feel like this thing with Pekka has gotten personal.
Yeah, I think that emotions have started clouding his judgment a little bit.
Yeah. But
I think, and this is why I keep saying that this is like leverage, because there's so many parallels. But I think that, I mean, I don't think Pekka expected them to have a heart render just the way that she got the drop on him.
Well,
It's
because
like she
Kaz opened up the door so that she could see Pekka in the reflection. Because again, she has to have, you know, line of sight in order to affect the people that she's
yeah
using her powers on. So that was quick thinking on his part as well, as opposed to her coming all the way there. But the fact that she got shot, I'm not okay with that. Whoever shot her, that dude needs to die. He needs to
fuck
die
her.
very quickly because no, what we're not about to do is shoot Nina. Hell, no, no.
Yeah,
But anyway,
I was rather upset about that myself. It's like my baby.
yeah. But they all
Yeah,
do get away, which is a good thing. But yeah, like Wyland said, he was like, "We got to get away. How do we find out that the others aren't in trouble?" And Jesper's like, "We can't. We just have to go to the meeting place." And he tells him, he was like, the black veil then, and Wyland is like, the cemetery, we got to go to the cemetery. But you know Pekka's guys, again, because Nina has been shot, they really feel like they're about to come into the hallway and shoot her and be done with her. Mm-mm. She fights off the guys, and she's trying to go to Kaz, but again, there's someone in the office actively shooting at Kaz. She knows she can't get to him without possibly getting shot again herself. So she takes off running. Kaz has an explosive. He throws it. He gets out. They all meet at the cemetery, which thankfully they're all okay, you know. But yeah, it's an again, I need Kaz to I need him to get it together. I need him to get it together. And this is the first time where I think you really see Jesper kind of losing his temper with Kaz because of the fact that Inej got hurt worse than any of them. You know, um, Jesper's not pleased. He was like, look, this is not going to end well for any of us. And Kaz is like, no, it won't, but I'll be the one to end it. And I was just like, dude, you better have a good plan. Because the way y'all just got ambushed, that cannot happen again at all. It can't.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, especially since they're who they are, it's like nobody expects them to get handled like that. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they did rally and get back to get back to where they can get away safely. I mean, shout out to Wyland for having the pocket sand or whatever to get for him to be able to get away. Him and Jesper to be able to get away. But it's like, they basically got found out. It's like, I mean, whatever little information they got, it's like they still were like, but they almost got handled.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, Nina got shot. It's like Inej got knifed, and it's like Pekka got found out too. And it's like I think that's the worst because Pekka was face to face with Kaz and told him like, I know everything you're gonna do. I
Mm-hmm.
know Inej is on the roof. I know that Jesper's over there. And it's like the only thing I didn't know is about Nina, but I shot her, so it's like I'm still ahead of you.
Yeah.
So it's like, I still know everything you're gonna do. So I'm still ahead. So screw
Mm-hmm.
you.
Yeah. But like I said, that shit can't happen again. They cannot get ambushed like that again. So I need Cass to figure his thing out. I need him to get it together. And
Right.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, so let's go to Kirigan real quick. Because Kirigan, as we see, is not doing well. Um, we see that every time he summons the shadow monsters, and not even summon, I think they are, it's almost like they're acting on their own to protect him. But like
Yeah,
when
it's a
he
trigger
calls,
response.
yeah, when he calls Jenya in to kind of fix his face, because of course he has all the slashes on his face, and she can only fix some of them. Like she can't take any of them away completely. She can kind of close them off a little bit, but the damage that was done by the Volker is probably permanent. And because she can't fix it, one of the shadow monsters comes and she was like, "Wait, your shadow monsters are here?" He was like, "Yeah, they're always with me." Um and what he wants her to do is he wants her to try to see inside of him, like is there something else that she can do? And she tells him there's nothing she can do. She can't fix it. It's beyond her skill. And that poor Jenya, like from the moment we've seen her in season 2 to when she realizes he's alive and having to go in there to that room, she is frightened. And I feel like he tries his best to put her at ease because he's very gentle with her when he talks to her. He's very polite. Even when he snaps at her a little bit, he kind of backtracks it and he's like, thank you, or, because she did try. She did try to heal him. She just couldn't. And then of course his shadow monsters, when she tried to look inside him to heal him and try to, I guess she was trying to see if she could heal the scar on his hand from the antler bone, that shadow monster was like, "Nope, you're hurting him. I'm about to kill you." And she gets her first taste of looking at the shadow monster. And he's able to pull it back, but you can see it, like it's almost like he's getting headaches from trying to control them. So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna end well for somebody, because I feel like if he's having that much trouble controlling them to where it's causing him that kind of physical pain, at some point they're going to be independent of him. He's not going to be able to control them. There's only so
I
much
don't
physical stuff you can, yeah.
I don't know how it works, but I don't think they are independent of him. I think they're dependent on him.
I'm
I think
saying
they're
they're not now, but I'm saying I feel like at some point he's going to lose control, because if he's having that much pain
okay. Yeah,
with
losing
them being
control. Yeah, he
yeah,
could.
I
Yeah,
feel like
and he
he's
won't
not, yeah,
because he already got impulse control issues. He just manifested them in real life.
right.
He has
Right.
tenuous control on himself. Therefore, yeah, he's got tenuous control on them.
Mm-hmm. But if
So,
he's having that much pain every time they come out, at some point, that pain is going to overwhelm him and he's not going to be able to rein it in.
mm-mm.
But I was like, and you can see Jenya is frightened as fuck, because when she
Oh,
walks out of
she's
his
horrified.
room, yeah, that too, but she's really scared, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, just her reaction. And then of course he was like, I'll see that I'm gonna see to it that your room is in this wing of the house because I need to keep you near, I guess to help him. Jenny is like, I don't want to do
Mm-mm.
that. But I'm
No.
trying to figure out where they are, because they're not in the little palace. So they're somewhere else, but I can't tell where they are yet.
I'm not sure.
But
He mentioned it. He said where they were, but I don't remember.
yeah, I don't remember, because what he said to her was, it when she walked in, he said it's good to see Grisha roaming these halls. So I don't know if they're in the actual palace. You know what I'm saying? Because the little
Mm.
palace was the location he built for all of the Grisha, so that they could kind of be segregated from the rest of the people in the palace, because that was where they were safer. So maybe he's taking over the palace, or maybe he's somewhere else. Maybe they had another safe house somewhere. I mean, he's had safe houses before
Maybe
in
he
the
could
past.
have. Maybe it could have been the place they were before they built the little palace.
Could be, could be,
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah.
we see him later on. He has another he has a new Durast, because David is apparently still missing. And Jenya makes inquiry about him. She was like, "Have you heard about David?" and he said that, he said, my soldiers are finding more Grisha every day. If he's out there, I'll find him for you. But he has another guy who is working on stuff. I was like, okay, what is this dude about to do?
But
Then
that
we,
guy had never been in the little palace, right?
I
Because
don't
he
think
said
so.
something to him. Yeah, he said something. Where did I find you? He told him what village it was. Okay, but you've never been in the little palace.
Yeah, I think
So
so. So this is probably a new person who was like, "Oh, the general's back. Okay, let me go see what I can do." Because of course, most of the Grisha that are out there, again, they're being hunted by
mhm. The first
by the
army.
first army.
Yeah.
So they probably are like, okay, well, he'll protect us just like he protected us before, especially if rumors about him being alive have surfaced. I'm assuming that soldiers being dusted and Grisha being freed right near the fold. Yeah, somebody probably said, "Oh yeah, that's Kirigan, he's back." But um we see him going out and he's searching for something and he comes across this other Grisha, and I can't remember what her name is. I'll remember it by the next episode. But she seems slightly unhinged too. Just in the way I don't know, there's something about her that seems off, you know. But
Can you blame them though? It's like because for everything that they've been through, it's like some people are built to be okay about that, and some people aren't. So it's like if their unhinged leader comes back and he's like, "Follow, and I'll get you back to where you're going to be," like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And it's like
no,
some people, some
she seems a little, I want to say she seems more in his inner circle, because what we find is she has hidden she's I can't think of what they call her, a squaller. She controls the water. No, squaller is when, what are the ones they call with the water?
I forgot the water ones.
Yeah, okay. But she does that, and she
Waves,
takes
I
him to
think.
this waterfall, and there's a hiding place. He has one of Morzova's journals. And I was like, oh, this is not going to be a good thing, because now, and maybe it's just something that he's trying to find so that he can try to learn to control the shadow monsters a little bit better.
They're tide
yeah,
makers.
Yes,
they're
that.
tide makers control water.
Yes. Yes. So, because I was thinking in my head waterbenders, and I was like, nope, wrong show. But
Wrong show.
Exactly.
but the other thing is, he tells her, he was like, okay, do it. And she was like, are you sure? And he just looks at her like, are you questioning me? She was like, okay. She moves the waterfall to the side, and you hear, hello, mother. This bitch got Bagra in a fucking cave
Under a waterfall.
under a waterfall, hidden. I was like, you really are like a sucky person, Alexander. But I guess I don't know, because
I
just
like I like the little jab she had. She was like, "You kept me in this motherfucking place right here, and I still look better than you."
let me tell you, Bagger is not with his shit. But the other
At
thing
all.
is, it's one thing to be like, you shouldn't have done that, but at the same time, Bagger was not really making things like. I know that there's more to Bagger's character than what we've seen, because she, the way that he talked about her in the first season, and even just the flashback that we saw of her when she was in the bed, and he had just come from killing the general's army and all that stuff. It's like Bagra loves her son, is fearful of her son, and is also very critical about him. And I don't know, it's just kind of like one of those weird things where you feel like, or you get the notion that she was one of those parents that kind of coddled him. And then when he got out of control, she couldn't do anything about it. Kind of like, I'm equating it to like, we have issues with criminals and school shooters. And one of the things they always say, or, parents will always say, is that he was out of control. I couldn't do anything with him. And just the behaviors. She seemed like she spoiled him, especially because he had the same kind of powers as her, because she also controls darkness. She also controls shadows. And she probably did try to teach him to defend himself. And then after a while, once he was like, I'm tired of defending myself, I'm just going to go start killing people if they keep fucking with us. And at that point, what can she do? Because he was more powerful. And then he dipped into that little taste of Merzos, that he was like, oh yeah, this is the business. This is my life now. And there's really nothing she can do about it. So I don't know. I just feel like there's so much more about that relationship that we just really don't know. And I have a feeling when it comes out, it's going to be one of those. It's like, I know what they did in the books. I don't know how that's going to play out in the show, because I already see, even with just this second episode, they have changed a lot from the books. Not in a bad way so far, but I don't know. But yeah, you kept your mama up under, and we don't even know how long it's been. I think it's been like maybe at this point a few weeks. But the other thing that we see with him is when he's back in his chambers, he he's looking at this scar on his hand, because he realizes that he may still have some of the sun summoner power in him. And he takes a hot poker and he's about to, like, I don't know what he's about to do, trying to see what it does, I guess. And his hand starts glowing and he sees the Sea Whip's last memories, which technically speaking is only something that Alina should be able to do, since she was the one that killed it. So that's when he was like, you've grown stronger, my Alina. I was like,
I think it's still a piece of that thing in him.
I think so too.
I think
like she didn't get the
it's
whole
like
thing.
bone. It's gonna splinter anyway. So it's probably a piece in there still.
Yep.
Because it was fused. It was fused to his own bones.
Right.
So it's probably a piece still in there.
Yep.
Or some pieces.
I was just like, please don't let
only
me.
thing. Okay. Timestamp this. You may have to cut this out. But was this episode where it was almost like they were like Kylo and whatchamacallit? They were communicating in the vision?
Yes. But she thinks that she's dreaming this.
Right. But I think he realizes that he's actually talking. He's actually talking to her.
But see, he doesn't realize it either, because when the conversation they had at the beginning where she was in the kefta, and then she took off the kefta and she was like, I will never wear your colors again. He thinks he's dreaming too. But I think towards the end of the episode, when he sees the Sea Whip's last memories and he realizes what has happened, I think that's when he realizes that there's a connection. Kind of similar also to Harry Potter and Voldemort.
Oh, because here we go.
I'm just saying, Order and the Phoenix.
Yeah.
They were doing the same thing where, Harry could kind of see what Voldemort was doing, and Voldemort wasn't aware of the connection, but when he used it against Harry, So I feel like it's going to be kind of sort of something similar. But yeah, so now I just hope it doesn't become this thing where it's like he's watching her while she's sleeping. He's watching her while she's doing what I don't want that. I mean, we already know that Kirigan is very he has no boundaries. He has no boundaries. When it comes to Alina. So I'm just yeah. But they are connected now, apparently. I don't think she realizes it yet, though, because she still does not know he's alive. So when that realization comes about, that's gonna be some hell to pay. But anyway,
Yeah.
we gotta talk about Matthias real quick because Matthias is in Hellgate. Um, Still pissed off. He has a roommate who is basically like trying to get him to calm down and just be like, look, this is what your life is now, and you just gotta do what you're supposed to do. Don't cause any waves, don't cause any problems. And we see some flashback, because Matthias is pissed. And then you see flashbacks of him remembering him and Nina being intimate. And I was like, oh, I guess a lot did happen during that time that we didn't see on screen. So yeah, I would be really pissed too if the person who got me to let down my walls and actually like they were having sex. They were doing the one thing that Matthias probably would never have thought to do with the Grisha. And then, of course, she sells him out, even though, yes, she did it to save his life. He still doesn't know that. All he's thinking in his mind is, I'm here in this fucked up prison. She sold me out. She lied to me. He's getting mad. I was like, oh.
And the more he remembers what they did, the more upset he's gonna get.
I mean, I probably would too.
And were you not getting Count of Monte Cristo feelings from this
Oh,
whole situation?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I thought it was just me.
No,
Definitely
it
not.
has the vibe,
I was
except,
getting
you know, she's a little bit different from Mercedes because Mercedes did what she had to do to survive because she didn't know of Fernand's treachery. In this, Nina did what she had to do to make sure that he wasn't killed or wasn't taken. Because I'm telling you, if Fedior and the Grisha had taken Matthias back to Kirigan, Matthias would be done.
yeah.
Especially because he was Druskella. He's responsible for the disappearance of a lot of Grisha. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a witch hunter.
Yeah, Kirigan would not have had any leniency, no, there would have been nothing. Matthias would be dead.
Right.
I was trying to find one of Dante's quotes. I swear he said something about hate is all I have.
Mm-hmm.
That's where Matthias is gonna be. That's all he's got left.
I have a question. Do we see these like the little intimate the intimate scenes between Matthias and Nina?
No,
We didn't see that last season, did
no,
we? So I'm
no.
like, I see those when he's like hands against the wall, he's like, oh my god, I can't believe this. And it's like you see like the scenes. I'm like, oh
Yeah, the
damn,
scenes where it's in red, no, those are flashback scenes from his point of view. So that stuff apparently is what happened off screen, probably from between the whale hut and when they arrived in, I forgot what
right?
town it was. So probably
Yeah,
while
to
they
get
were
those
on the
waffles.
road. Yeah. So
Yeah, because I was like, oh damn, I see now.
I just assumed they did.
I assume too,
you
but
know.
it's like this is just like confirmation. I'm like, oh damn, yeah, they did.
see,
Okay,
I
yeah,
There's
wasn't
only so many
sure.
ways you can keep warm.
Yeah, that this is true. This is true.
I mean, I mean, you got to save a life. It's like, yeah. She was just trying to help preserve him. So it's like, and he was preserving her. So they're
Mm-hmm.
preserving each other.
Yeah, because when you get cold, the blood leaves your extremities first.
Exactly. So you got
I
so
mean,
you got to
she
get the
told
blood
him as much in
flowing.
the whale hut. She was like,
True.
when she was telling him, she was like, those wet clothes will be the death of you. Take them off. And, she had already gotten undressed in the bed. And she was like, not with those clothes on. You are not curling up to me. No. So, yeah,
Oh, but you take them off. You come right on in here, buddy. Come
I
on.
mean, body
Exactly.
heat is body
I
heat
mean,
is body heat.
yeah. I'll. She's like, I'll warm your heart, baby. Come here. I'm gonna rid your heart good. Come here.
Oh, but yeah, so I would be pissed too if I was Matthias thinking about all of that and where I am now. But I mean, even, and I know he was mad at first because He wakes up, he's in a cell. He's been obviously been heartrended, and he probably thought she was the one that did it, you know. So he's already pissed off. So when, at the end of last season, when she comes down to talk to him, and she was like, look, I did this to save your life. This is what I'm gonna do. When we get there, I'm gonna tell them that wasn't the case, and blah. And when the guy in the other cell was like, oh no, that's not how this plays out. He's going to Hellgate. He'll be there for about 6 months before he even thinks about seeing a trial. And she didn't know that. She was just basically she was thinking fast. She was like, I'm trying to get him away from the Grisha. And this is the best way for me to do it. So I don't know. And of course, he probably doesn't believe that, because I know she told him, I was trying to save your life. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Because he never saw the Grisha.
No.
So I don't know, but I need him to not be mad at Nina. I know that's hard for him right now.
Trust me, he'll get over it. Everybody loves.
Have you seen Nina? He'll be all right.
He'll be all right.
Yeah, but he can't see Nina right now because he's in prison and she's out there in the world living. I won't say she's living her best life. He thinks she's probably out there living her best life.
First of all, we're not gonna, we're just gonna be transparent here. He has plot armor. He'll be all right. Nina has plot armor. She'll be all right. Inez, we've seen her plot armor at work. They'll all be all right.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah. But I'm just saying, for my shipping parts, I need Matthias I need him to understand.
If Nina's part of the Crows, Matthias is going to be all right. It's like, because that's how it goes. It's like, she's a member of the crew. She's going to break him out. She's going to be all right. He'll be fine.
I don't know. That's the tall order, because Kaz said we can't break people out of Hellgate.
Yeah, Kaz was honest. He was like, that's something we can't do. We can figure some stuff out, but that is something that's not happening.
Yeah, we can give him a message, but
I might be able to get you in to see him, but we can't break him out.
And I like Kaz for that one reason. Kaz is honest for the most part. He's very honest, especially what they can and can't do.
Right.
You know what I mean? He knows their limitations. Every good con artist like him would know what his limitations are.
Yep. Because he doesn't have magic. None of them do, except for Jesper and Nina, but they can only use that so far. They can only go so far with that. Nina, of course, has great command of her powers, but I'm going to assume that Jesper doesn't, because aside from him doing what he does with the guns,
Jesper's an expert. He has fine-tuned. You can't throw those bullets around like that without having.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think he has done that with. He's fine-tuned with the bullets, but think about all of the other situations that they have been in where metal has been a part of it, and he's not really done anything with it.
Don't be surprised if we had like a flashback of him doing stuff.
Yeah,
it was like when Cass said, "Oh, your gun jammed," and all of a sudden it started working.
Yeah, and you fixed my cane without
any tools.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I mean, but that doesn't necessarily make him an expert. I mean, it's
it does,
because there are other skills that can do.
No, you can do more things. You can do little tiny things with precision. You're an expert with your powers.
Okay.
Because that means big things is easy. It's the little tiny things that's difficult.
Right. Okay. I get that. But yeah, so I guess we'll see more about Jesper's power in later episodes, especially since now that they gave us the reveal in the first episode, and then they gave us that magnificent scene in the second episode, so we can only go up from here, right? So
yeah,
sure.
You know what?
Stop it! No, we're not going back there.
I'm ignoring. Don't give him any of your energy. We're not dealing with his negativity. We're just gonna ignore him.
This is optimism. It's gonna get better.
This is optimism?
I've heard you be optimistic before, sir, and this is not
For real. Seriously.
I'm just saying. I'm
Oh
just
my god. Okay.
I like the privateer. He's cool.
I like
Yes,
him.
thank I do. I really like him. And shout out to you for actually saying not saying pirate and saying privateer because there is a difference.
We don't know what
There's a
look. I
distinction.
I'm
I don't
kind
know
of
what it
like
is though.
Mal. I'm
Sure.
like, so what's the difference?
What's the difference?
Mal is like, so what's the difference?
There's a
And Lena's
distinction.
like, because nobody uses the word privateer. They all say
But yeah, didn't Queen Elizabeth hire pirates for their war against the Spanish Armada? Oh, wait,
Privateer
no,
The
they were privateers. They weren't pirates.
East India Company were privateers
They were
because they were
privateers.
hired by the Queen, I think.
mm.
That's the difference. Are you being paid or are you stealing? That's
I
the
don't know.
You know
I
what?
gotta
Yeah. So
I gotta go watch Pirates of the Caribbean again to be sure. I'm not sure how that works.
Jack Sparrow would never claim to be a privateer.
absolutely not. That is so
Absolutely.
beneath him. No. Okay, so to sum this episode up, Alina now has the second amplifier. Um, Kirigan has control issues. Jenya is frightened. The crows have been kind of sort of bested, but are not down yet. Not if Cass has anything to do with it. Oh, that's the other thing. Going back to what you were saying, Anthony, did you notice that when Kirigan was seeing the Sea Whip's last memories, did you notice Mal's face was glowing?
No.
Go back and
Yeah, it
look at
was.
that scene. Mal's face is glowing. The Sea Whip saw a glow in his face. So kind of like you were saying that Mal hears he hears the frequency.
Mhm.
Maybe they can sense him too. And maybe that's why, again, that Sea Whip seemed pissed that it had been found. Maybe it figured out that Mal was the reason why it got found. Because again, Mal was able to see, or I guess you could say see, because that Sea Whip was kind of good at camouflage. He was
Yeah,
able
he
to
saw what it
feel
was.
and see what it was. So maybe that Sea Whip was like, oh, this is the dude. This is how they found me. Let's kill him so I can go hide again. But yeah, his face was glowing in Kirigan's vision.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm. That Sea Whip was like, nope.
That means your theory is sound.
He might be a human amplifier.
Whatever.
But that would also explain why he was able to help Alina contain the power once she got the scales. Because again, she couldn't control it, and she was feeling that that power trip, and he just hugged her, and it
Yeah.
just kind of, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, she was posing. It's like I don't even think that Kirigan needed to look at his hand. He could have looked out his window and been like, "Oh, what the fuck is that?"
I think they're in another
Because I'm
part.
sure.
They're in another part of the
They're,
world.
yeah, they're not. I don't think they're anywhere
I
near.
mean, still,
No.
she was. I mean, okay, yeah, she was on the other side of the fold, but it's like, I mean, she was pulsing hard. Like they were showing it outside the ship. It's like it went out like a few yards out from the ship and up. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, she was posting pretty good. And then it's like it seemed like after Mal grabbed her, it seemed like she was kind of like in a euphoric state, like when she kissed him.
Mm-hmm.
Like she really felt it like, oh,
That's what I was
hey
saying. You
baby.
know, a lot of people when they talk about power trips and when they have that high off of power, it also makes them very aroused. For a lot of people, and that's why I was saying, like when
Right.
she kissed him, she was still feeling all of that. I think it was one of those things where it's like, excuse me, Alina, there are you have witnesses. You calm it
Like it's
down.
a whole crew.
Calm it down. Yeah. Yeah, because I don't think in that moment, it was just her and him for her.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Yeah. So, there's a lot going on. But like I said, I need Cass to get it together. I need him to get some control. Because I understand him wanting to take down Pekka, but I need him to do it in a smart way, not in a way that's going to get the rest of his crew killed. Because I mean, granted, I don't think any of them die because again, I have not read the book, but the books. But yeah, this episode was a little too close for comfort as far as how much in danger they were. And now he's on Pekka Rollins' radar in a huge way. And not just that, Pekka knows the whole crew now. And he also knows you have a heart render. So if y'all stay in the city, you've got to be extra specially careful to not get put in that same type of predicament again. They're going to have to make some smart decisions, some smart moves. And Kaz is going to have to find some allies. That is one thing we did kind of skip over. He did go to one of the other bar owners and tried to not necessarily muscle his way, but he was trying to talk his way into an allyship. And the other dude was like, your name is mud around here. I'm not about to get into this with you. And don't you ever show your face around here again. Cass needs to find some allies. But I don't know. I like this episode, but again, the crow that was too close for my comfort. I don't like them being in that kind of danger.
Yeah, and Nez was on the ropes.
Literally.
Yeah,
like
on the rope.
No, that's not good. She was almost done. Wyland was almost done until Jesper was able to get control of the situation again. Nina getting shot, even though I think that was probably like she just got grazed. But
oh hey,
that was just luck. That was just luck. She had them rented.
Did we talk about the guy that was trying to choke Jesper and he bent the bar?
Oh, okay. Yes. So then that negates what I was saying earlier because I did completely forget about that.
That was this episode, right?
I think yes. And then also, yeah, you're right. So
yeah, because the bar was bent right around his neck.
Yes, that's right. And he was taking it off. Yep, because that's when Wyland jumped on that dude's back.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to save Jesper. And then the dude was about to hit Wyland and Jesper shot him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, okay, yes. So that negates what I said earlier because I forgot that was in this episode. Yes, you're right. He did bend the bar. So yeah, he got some skill. I guess it's a good thing that we are seeing Jesper's skills because other than that, we all would have been like, what in the world are you doing? But again, Ivan kind of figured it out in the last season when he kept hitting him in the same
spot.
Yeah, he was like, hold up, you're I'm gonna knock you out before you finish that sentence.
I wouldn't do this, but it would be interesting to go back and watch all his scenes from the first season.
I know.
To see,
I did.
You did to see when he ever did any of that. And I
rewatched all of the first season before the second season started, and then I've gone back and just like I've told y'all before about my YouTube dives. Sometimes I just go and just look for specific things, and it's like watching his scenes. They don't make it obvious, but yeah, you can kind of see it. And like what was it that Cass said when he finally made it known that he knew? He was talking about. He said, your gun jammed on Arkin's train and you fixed it. And I do remember that part being kind of weird because he was trying to shoot and nothing was happening. So and he had Milo in his arm. So it's not like he had time to sit there and fidget with it. He literally, the Volker were coming after them. So watching that scene again, it's kind of like, oh, okay. And then if you think about it, whenever he needs to make a particular shot, he always does this with his gun like he's listening to it. He always puts it near his face, and he just does this like he's concentrating so hard on what he has to do. And that is very evident in that scene where he's shooting Ivan, and he keeps shooting him in the same spot, because every time he does it, it's almost like he's concentrating, like he's telling this bullet, okay, this is where you need to go. Or maybe now that we know that he's a Duras, maybe he can kind of like Mal can sense the frequency of the amplifiers. Maybe there's not necessarily a frequency that Jesper can hear, but maybe he's that in tune with the metal, or he can sense the metal, and that's how he can concentrate on where it needs to go. So it's like he had already shot Ivan in that one spot, so maybe he was like, okay, I feel where the bullet went, this is where it needs to go again. That's because I think that's the only, that particular scene, and I think we talked about this last season. With that particular scene, we were like, Jesper has to be a Grisha. We all said it, we just weren't sure.
Right.
So yeah.
Because if you think about it, I know this is getting into the weeds, but like if he can sense the metal, he could sense the metal in the armor plate, and he could sense where he hit it the first time. So he just knew to hit it there every time. Yeah.
Yep.
That's interesting.
Yep.
No, but no, I'm not gonna go back and watch. I'll just go
Yes,
to
you are.
YouTube.
You got to
I'll just
go
go
back and watch
I'll just
and freeze
YouTube.
frame it and make sure that he hit him in the exact same spot. That's
No,
exactly
I'm
what
just
you're
gonna
going to do.
YouTube it.
You're going to go do that as soon as we get off this podcast.
Nope. I'm just gonna YouTube it.
YouTube is a lot quicker.
Every time Jesper was a Durist in season 1.
And you probably will find it.
Exactly, and you're going to freeze frame it. It's like you ain't got to go back to Netflix. You can do it on YouTube. Go ahead, knock yourself out.
No.
Yeah. So, do we have anything else to say about this episode? I think we got everything. Mainly
Shout
that
out to
Jesper is awesome.
Jesper is awesome, and Matthias's cellmate told him not to speak Fjorden, and because he got punished and burned on his neck for speaking Fjorden instead of whatever other language they had. Right. So yeah, Matthias is in a spot. He needs to hurry up, get the fuck out of there. And shout out to them for giving them old lobster.
That was just when that dude was like, yes, old. But
yeah, but I mean, fun fact, it's like like back in the days when with the Wild Wild West days, it's like they used to give people lobster because lobster is just like trash. It's like they'd catch it all the time off the coast of California, and they'd be like, okay, well, we just feed it to everybody. It was way more. It was more like shrimp. It was just like shrimp is to these days. That's how lobster was. It's like they were everywhere. So
yeah, they used to have lobster stands in New York or something like that, and then someone put it in their restaurant, and all of a sudden it became this thing where everyone, it became this delicacy. Right. Whereas before they were basically just selling it on the street corner.
Yeah, exactly. They're basically like hot dogs because, I mean, technically lobsters are the same class as cockroaches, but we're not going to discuss that. That's for another.
Let's not have that discussion now. So on that note, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel. You can chat with us on our Discord channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.